Whenever we have a lot of our biological needs set up, that's when words start to have way more of an importance. If we don't have, let's say, basic food, basic shelter, we don't really need to watch our words too much. But whenever we do have our basic food, shelter, all of that set up, that's when we do need to watch our words. And this is where I think we often get it wrong in terms of social media. Where with social media, it seems as though people want to choose sides a lot. And a lot of times, choosing sides is the right thing to do. There's most likely, if you have some rationale, there's a clear right side and a wrong side. But other times, you actually need to be empathetic of someone's scenario because we never know what they're going through. One of the phrases I've come to accept a little bit more, I don't agree with it, but I understand its role, is the phrase trigger words. Where in 2019, I recall I was actively making fun of this phrase. I'm like, man, if you need a trigger warning of any sort, then you are a weakling. You are not an adult. You are a college kid that has been released a little too soon. I was going in on trigger warnings. But nowadays, a couple of years removed from that scenario, I understand why certain folks need trigger warnings. And the thing is, with content, you don't need to give anyone trigger warnings. Like right now, I may say certain things that trigger some folks. It may not have been my intention, but some word that I used reminded them of a traumatic memory from their life. So a lot of the times I will begin a certain talk and I may accidentally offend someone without trying to do so. This is something that, no trigger warnings are needed because I'm not trying to offend anyone. But there are other topics that every now and then it's very sensitive. And it's one of these topics like, let's say you're talking about rape, you're talking about, I wouldn't say religion, but I would say getting disowned for changing your philosophy in religion. Tough talks like that, like getting beat up by one of your parents growing up. I'm talking like straight up beat up. These phrases, if you're in the business of speaking about this with your brand, you got to understand that this is going to trigger a lot of folks. And you don't need to give the trigger warning. But I think we should avoid making fun of those folks that do give the trigger warning. Because we all have that one topic that we are very emotional about. All the logic in the world, it's not going to penetrate that emotional aspect within this topic. For some folks, it's like women's rights. Whenever they're talking about women's rights, they understand there's like the good feminism, then there's the radical feminism, and a lot of them will go from the good feminism, the logical aspect, to the very emotional one. And for a certain period of their life, they're just going to be stuck there, right? You could use all the logic in the world, try to say like, no, all men are not trash. And by the way, there's a flip side where there's certain men that just hate women after a bad breakup. And you could use all the logic to penetrate this radical group from the men or from the women, but it's not going to work. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is roughly 2 to 17 years of their life, they're just going to be very emotional in regards to this field. It could be that they're logical about plenty of other aspects of their life, but whenever you hit this topic, it's as though all form of logic shuts down, and then boom, they're just spouting just black and white topics, all nuances lost. You see, every single human being has a certain topic like that.